You guys know why I'm here. It's me, and you know why I'm here. It is Saturday, so that means Wrestling Week in Review. Got my phone stand with me as always, so I don't have to use my laptop anymore to prop my phone up. I can just use this, and it works perfectly. Hopefully you guys are doing well this Saturday. On this Saturday, also for those who maybe don't know, tonight on NBC and Peacock is the return of Saturday night's main event. We got 5 matches planned, a bunch of celebrity and WWE legend appearances, and I'm excited for each and every one of them. I'm excited. And I'll be watching it. Hopefully, I will be able to watch it on NBC because I would love to be able to watch it on NBC. I can obviously watch it on Peacock just as easily, but I want to watch it on NBC. So hopefully that gets to happen. But y'all didn't come here to have me talk about Saturday night's main event the whole time, so I'm just gonna get into it, and hopefully, and thank you for whoever sent that one chat, whoever sent that whoever did that particular well, thank you for that. Let's get on with it. Let's get on with the show. It is the week. We start out the week, obviously, with Monday Night Raw. Now, last week, we saw the New Day turn heel on Big E, which was what I did not expect to happen. The way the storyline was progressing, we were getting the impression, at least, I'm sure everybody was getting the impression, but me especially, I was getting the impression that we were getting a Xavier Woods heel turn on Kofi. Because I just feel like Kofi Kingston is a great babyface. I just don't know. I didn't know if Kofi Kingston could be booed, but they took it in a slightly different direction than what I thought they were doing. Same with the DIY heel turn, which happened later in the week on Friday Night SmackDown last week, because I thought that storyline was basically the same thing, just with a different tag team, and I thought that we were getting a Ciampa heel turn on Gargano, which they've done before in NXT, but I guess Triple H decided to sort of spice it up a little bit, because we've gotten a Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano heel turn, but just never at the same time. They were always different. They were you know what it is. But here's what it is. The New Day, Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, they show up. The beginning of the show starts out with Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods coming in to the arena and hoping to fist bump with some of the backstage crew and some of the superstars, but none of them seem all too happy to do that. They are obviously not happy with what Xavier Woods and Kofi did to Big E last week. At one point, when they were backstage, Cody Rhodes even went as far as to say, "You two should be ashamed of yourselves for what you did." Yeah, that's really. Oh, you're not. Get out of here, Mox. Get out of here, Mox. You're not welcome. And I know it's you, so And I know it's you, so don't even try to pretend that it isn't, okay? I'm sorry, but this is getting a little ridiculous. You keep telling me that I'm stalking your channel. You keep telling me that I'm stalking your channel, but you're doing the same thing to me. So yeah, talk about being the world's biggest hypocrite in the world. You're still stalking my channel, even though I have had no reason to go visit yours. So yeah. I'm just calling it as I see it. Just calling it as I see it. Any of you guys that are just now coming in that want to hit that like button, feel free to do so. It's never required, but I do appreciate it. Oh, crap, I forgot to share the live stream out to some people. Hopefully this doesn't affect anything. Excuse me for a second while I try to... I've got to share this with some people. Come on, hurry up. Okay. Thank you guys for waiting patiently. I had to share this. I wanted to share this live stream out. I forgot to share this live stream out before I went live. So now here it is. Opening segment saw Gunther come out. He was there to, address his Saturday night's main event opponent, Finn Balor. Talked in great length about... This was basically, it was simple. It wasn't nothing too special. Then Finn Balor decides to interrupt. They go back and forth. They then now go back and forth. Gunther then proceeds to make fun of Finn Balor for being the inaugural Universal Champion, then having to relinquish the title by telling Finn Balor, 8 years ago, you became the best in the world for one day. Hey, Aaron. Anybody that's just coming into the live stream, if you want to hit that like button, feel free to do so. It is never required, but I always appreciate the likes. I always appreciate them. Just in case any of you want to do that. Like I just said, it's not required, but I do appreciate it. So, it is what it is. Damian Priest then comes out of nowhere, starts attacking on Finn Balor. Then he gets into the ring. Then Gunther starts attacking Damian Priest. And then by the end of it, Finn Balor is the one standing tall after he hits, I think it's 3 coup de grace to Damian Priest. So Finn Balor is the one looking strong. Going into Saturday night's main event, after we go to a commercial break, we come back and Adam Pearce is backstage with Finn Balor, and the rest of Judgment Day are backstage. Adam Pearce comes around and tells Finn Balor that he has added Damian Priest to the World Heavyweight Championship match at Saturday night's main event. Finn Balor does not look happy at all. In fact, he looks downright pissed off because he thought he had taken Damian Priest out of the World Championship picture at Survivor Series. But this should be the last time we see Damian Priest challenging for the World Championship for the time being. Because it does look like we're getting another one-on-one match between the two of them, and I'm okay with that, because I think if they were to build this feud up enough, this feud could end inside Hell in a Cell at WrestleMania. Have these two wrestle at WrestleMania, Hell in a Cell, inside Hell in a Cell. Have Finn Balor actually win this time, because there wasn't really any reason for Finn Balor to lose at WrestleMania 39 against Edge inside Hell in a Cell, because eventually Edge wound up leaving the company. Shut up. Go to Twitter jail. Go to Twitter jail. I mean, go to YouTube jail. Why did I say that? Why did I say Twitter? I don't know why. Disregard that last. Please, will the court disregard that last statement? But yeah. So who knows? Who knows what's going to happen at Saturday Night's Main Event? As far as who I think wins, Gunther still retains. There's no way Gunther's losing yet. He's still, even though Finn Balor winning would be an interesting little twist, and having Damian Priest challenge at WrestleMania for the title would be okay, but I think Gunther's leaving Saturday Night's Main Event as your champion still. Then we get a CM Punk interview backstage. He was being interviewed. I think it was, can't remember who it was, but he was being interviewed, I think, by Kathy Kelly. He talked about Seth Rollins. Can't remember exactly everything that was said, but basically he called out Seth Rollins for holding on to a grudge, basically holding on to a grudge. Yeah, because it definitely looks like Seth Rollins is still more than pissed off that CM Punk is even here. And that he's even allowed to be here because of all the things that he did 10 years ago to try and take this company down when he was fired, when he was released. Then we go and we get our first match of the night, which is Liv Morgan versus Dakota Kai. I'm guessing this was made because Liv Morgan is challenging Dakota Kai's damage. It is because Dakota's Damage Control teammate Io Sky is facing Liv Morgan for the title at Saturday Night's Main Event, which I think Liv Morgan retains, even though we might see Rhea Ripley try to intervene in the match, or at least distract Liv Morgan and at least distract Raquel. Take away the numbers advantage for Liv Morgan. And also you got Damage Control of Dakota Kai and Kairi Sane, who could also get involved. But yeah, this match actually went about 3 minutes, 30 seconds. Wasn't necessarily a squash match because Dakota Kai because PFC, Pure Fusion Collective, was at some point came out at ringside and were at ringside, and WWE they were at ringside. Eventually, the distractions were too much for Dakota Kai, and she wound up. And Liv Morgan went on to hit Oblivion, which then led to her getting the win. Then PFC come out. Then PFC get in the ring to attack Dakota Kai. Then the rest of Damage Control, Io Sky and Kairi Sane come out to help. Then Liv Morgan gets back into the ring and does a sneak attack on Io Sky, the woman she's facing for the title at Saturday Night's Main Event. So immediately I'm like, oh wow, Liv Morgan's the one that's standing tall in this moment. What if that's their subtle way of telling us that Liv Morgan's losing at Saturday Night's Main Event? Because it's always been that way. Ever since I started watching WWE, it's always been that way as far as what I've seen. Like whenever a heel gets momentum going into a big PLE or match, or a big match on a big show the week before, or the go-home show on the go-home show, if the heel gets momentum on the go-home show, it usually means that the PLE or the big show is happening on either Saturday or Sunday. That means they're losing. And if the baby face is the one that gets the momentum, it's the other way around. They lose. Then they lose. So I immediately started thinking, oh wait, does Liv Morgan actually lose at Saturday Night's Main Event? But then later on Liv Morgan, Io Sky was able to get her revenge somewhat, which then sort of made me think, oh yeah, okay, so she actually is gonna retain. But yeah. After this match, though, we got a Drew McIntyre promo. He talked about why he returned last week, about how he had, and he also explained why he's been off television since Bad Blood, and that's because he had family issues to deal with. He had I think what he said was like a death in the family, or just a family medical problem, and he had to be there for his family. But then watching WWE, he still was watching WWE apparently, and he saw CM Punk and Roman Reigns team up at Survivor Series War Games, and that just sent him over the edge, because he already is still plenty pissed off at the Bloodline for costing him the undisputed title at Clash at the Castle 2022, and that's still apparently very fresh in his mind. He just will not let that go, ever. That's the whole reason for his heel turn, is because he still, to this day, feels like the Bloodline screwed him out of the title, and he still hasn't gotten his quote-unquote revenge against them yet. But he did last week somewhat, taking out, and in this little promo package, he did admit to attacking Jey Uso. He said, that's why I knew I had to take out Sami Zayn. That's why I knew I had to take out Jey Uso. So basically, he confirmed, yeah. And when Drew McIntyre attacked Sami Zayn after the main event of last week's Raw, I kind of figured, yeah, I think it's Drew McIntyre that attacked Jey. Nobody else really makes sense unless it's one of the Bloodline members, unless it was one of the Bloodline 2.0 members that did it. The only other person that could have been was a Bloodline 2.0 member. But it was Drew McIntyre, and it makes perfect sense. Drew McIntyre and Jey Uso obviously have their problems from last year. From last year, when Jey Uso moved over to Monday Night Raw. First moved over to Monday Night Raw, and when Drew McIntyre first turned heel. So it is what it is. We also get a video package. Then we get a video package, sort of revisiting last week's New Day segment, where the New Day turned on Big E, Xavier Woods, and Kofi Kingston. Then we get Seth Rollins. He's out there. Then we get Seth Rollins. He's out in the middle of the ring. He comes out to talk to the crowd about CM Punk. Talks about all the reasons why CM Punk's the bad guy here, and how he's a terrible human being. And we're obviously getting a Seth Rollins heel turn for this feud, because CM Punk is obviously going to be the one that's cheered. So Seth is going to have to turn heel. Then Sami Zayn comes out. He's there to apologize to Seth Rollins because last week he thought that Seth Rollins was the one who attacked Jey Uso backstage. Turns out that was not the case, obviously, so he came out to apologize to Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins accepted, but then Sami Zayn would go on and say, like, I mean, I know it's none of my business, but you really seem to be obsessed with CM Punk. Maybe you should just move on and just forget about it. And then Sami Zayn would just go on about Drew McIntyre and the attack that happened last week, and how he talked with Adam Pearce to make a match official for Saturday night's main event, the fifth match scheduled for the fifth and final match scheduled for the event, which will be Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn. as far as who wins that match, I feel like Drew McIntyre needs to win that match because it'll be his first match since his return, and he definitely needs to win because he needs to get that momentum going. But then again, he might just lose it within a few weeks anyways. Then the next match we got was the Wyatt Six versus the Final Testament. This feud has actually been starting to grow on me. I was already like, oh, I'm actually fired up for this feud, but it's actually starting to grow on me more and more each week. Because at least with this group, with this feud, the Wyatt Six are actually facing off against a faction or a group of people that are actually on their level in terms of the spookiness and as far as the. Because what I hated about the Wyatt Six versus American Made feud was how stupid they made Chad Gable and the rest of American Made look when they made American Made look dumb. Every single week it was the exact same thing. Chad, American Made call out Wyatt Six. Wyatt Six beat down American Made into submission every single week, and the American Made just looked weak. And ever since then, American Made has not been able to do anything good has not really been able to do anything right. And I feel like feuding with the Wyatt Six zapped all the momentum out of the American Made stable. Now they're just there, and they're not doing anything. They're not winning matches. They're losing majority of their matches. Ivy Nile lost her match on this episode of Monday Night Raw in the Intercontinental title tournament, which I wouldn't have minded her going to at least the semifinals if she had been in a different group. But then again, I don't know. But yes, this match was actually pretty good. Lasted about 7 minutes, and the ending of this match was surprising because I didn't know who was going to win this match. I thought, you know what, they'll just have the Wyatt Six win because they've been booked almost unbeatable they've been booked basically almost bulletproof to this point. But that was not the case, and I was quite surprised because they actually had the Final Testament get the win. Also in this match, at the end of this match, Paul Ellering, who was attacked, who took a bullet for The Miz when the Wyatt Six first laid their eyes on Miz in the Final Testament, he returned since being ambushed, since taking that bullet for The Miz. And he, I guess, threw some sort of like powder in Uncle Howdy's eyes with the referee's back turned. That allowed Karrion Kross to hit his new finishing move, the final prayer on Uncle Howdy, and got the win. A lot of people were like, dude, they just buried the Wyatt Six. How exactly did they bury the Wyatt Six when up until now the Wyatt Six have been booked as nothing short of bulletproof? Like, you've been booking the Wyatt Six up until now to be basically bulletproof. They haven't lost a single match since they debuted. They haven't looked weak at all since debuting. So one loss is not going to kill their momentum completely. They're obviously going to book a second match maybe between this group, and the next time that happens, the Wyatt Six are obviously getting that win back. So as far as the people saying that the Wyatt Six got buried this week on Monday Night Raw, shut up, because that's not the case. That didn't happen. The Wyatt Six have been booked as nothing short of bulletproof since debuting, so how exactly can you say they were buried? But yeah, Final Testament got the win, which was surprising, but then I should have been like, I mean, if you want to build this feud and want to make the Final Testament actually seem like legit. Yeah, it's cold out here too, Danny. It's cold here too, Danny. Oh, hey, Danny, you excited? You're probably not going to watch it. You're probably not going to watch it, but are you excited for tonight's Saturday night's main event? Because I am. I'm excited and I can't wait to watch. I'll be watching it on NBC, hopefully. Hopefully I'll be able to watch it on NBC. Because at least if I watch it on NBC, I'll still sort of be able to come on to BBB's live stream tonight. Okay, yeah, it should be good. It should be very good. It should be very good. And we're going to be getting a lot of the WWE legends. And Jesse the Body Ventura will be back on commentary. And apparently, from what I heard today, because I saw a video on YouTube today, which was a wrestling news video, and apparently CM Punk will also be there on commentary, potentially alongside Jesse Ventura. So that should be interesting. And so, yeah, I'm excited for that. But yes, like I said, Final Testament versus Wyatt 6 went about 7 minutes. Final Testament beat the Wyatts after Paul Ellering returned to throw some powder into Uncle Howdy's face behind the referee's back, which then allowed Karrion Kross to hit his his new finishing move, the final prayer. 1, 2, 3, good job. We get Ludwig, Kaiser, and Gunther backstage. Gunther is I guess, I don't know what Gunther was doing, but Ludwig Kaiser came up from behind, they started talking, and Ludwig's like, where were you last? Where were you during that beatdown segment, then during the opener? Like, and Ludwig's like, wait, what? Didn't you tell me to go off in my own direction, that I didn't need to continue hanging around you all the time? And then Gunther's like, I'm just kidding. I mean, obviously I wanted to make sure your priorities were straight, and obviously they are. So Ludwig Kaiser will face Bron Breakker next week on Monday Night Raw for the Intercontinental Championship. So that should be a good match. Should be one-on-one. Should not have any interference at all, because we've gotten too many Intercontinental title matches recently that have resulted in interference from another superstar. Yeah, let's hope Sheamus does not interfere in this match, because we do not need another Ludwig Kaiser Sheamus match, or Ludwig Kaiser Bron Breakker Sheamus triple threat, or Sheamus Bron Breakker match, at least for a while. Next, we got the Women's Intercontinental Championship Tournament first round match. Lyra Valkyria versus Zelina Vega versus Ivy Nile. This match went about 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Not bad. Was a decent match. Lyra wins by pinning Zelina Vega. It is what it is. It is what it is. I'm happy for Lyra. She's definitely someone that's an odds-on favorite to win this tournament, but there have been people within WWE that are pushing for Natalya to win this inaugural title. And if I'm going to be completely honest, I'm okay with that. She's a veteran. She's been there for years, not since like 2000, since like 2006, 2007. So she's been here for at least 17 years. So she definitely would bring instant credibility to that title. But yeah, it is what it is. Good for Lyra. Then we get the New Day. The New Day are coming out. a backstage. They're getting ready to come out to explain their heel turn on Big E. At one point, they even steal a cameraman's camera and they go out to the ring to try to explain why they did what they did. But what I was not expecting, and this was probably the best, this was by far the best part of the entire Monday Night Raw this week. The Seth Rollins, CM Punk interview backstage, Seth Rollins segments where he talked about CM Punk, the Drew McIntyre promo, that was all good. That was all really good. But then this moment topped all of it. The New Day received the biggest boos you could ever. I mean, the New Day had instantly, within just 1 week, very well may have surpassed Dominic Mysterio as the most hated in WWE. Because we all know what happened when Dominic Mysterio turned on his father at Clash at the Castle 2022. Immediate, instant heel heat. He was immediately the biggest heel in the entire company, and you couldn't tell anybody otherwise. He was getting booed left, right, and center. Now, some people will probably still tell you that that's cheap, that's piped in boos, that nobody gets booed that much. But oh, come on, you can't tell me that Dominic Mysterio isn't an instant heat magnet. But now the New Day seem to have surpassed Dominic Mysterio. And it's great because I love it. It's definitely making the New Day interesting for the first time in, well, probably forever. Because there's only, I mean, there's only so far a face tag team can go before a babyface tag team can go before they eventually just get tired of just losing and not winning championships and stuff, and then they start to just completely lose it like the New Day have, and then they just snap. But they snapped on Big E, and it's instantly made them the biggest heels in the company. What I would love to see happen here is I would love to see this lead to Big E getting cleared for in-ring competition. Perhaps maybe seeing him in the Royal Rumble, that could happen. I don't know. Look, it's been 2 years. It's been 2 years. I wonder, it's been 2 years. I feel like, oh, they're interesting now because they got booed like you wouldn't believe. They couldn't even say anything. They couldn't say anything without getting drowned out by the amount of boos that the crowd was giving them. I could barely hear them when they were talking. That was basically Dominic Mysterio heat that they were getting. And it definitely has made the New Day more interesting. To be honest, I think heels are obviously more interesting than babyfaces just because you never know exactly what they're going to do. But then after this, obviously we got the main event, Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Rodriguez. This was an anything goes match, lasted 9 minutes and 30 seconds. It is what it is. Good match. Rhea wins. Now, Liv Morgan, though, obviously, she tried to get involved in this match, tried to stop Rhea from winning. That didn't work. Then Damage Control comes out to attack, or at least Io Sky comes out to attack Liv Morgan. She lays out Liv, and she's the one that's now standing tall at the end of the show. Yeah, I know. But hey, it was great to see them get booed because that's what I was worried about. I was worried about would the WWE universe boo Kofi, and they did. So Liv Morgan, Io Sky is now the one standing tall on the Go Home show. in the main event, that should tell you who's winning that match. Liv Morgan will definitely retain against Io Sky now. But hey, Monday Night Raw was a good show. If I had to rate Monday Night Raw, I would rate it a 7.5 out of 10. It was very good. Then, now on to Tuesday and NXT. The opening saw Julia. Oh yeah, I mean, obviously there were times when John Cena would get booed out of buildings, would get booed, even when he was a face, because obviously they knew what WWE was doing. He was the face of the company, and there were certain times where he was booked to win matches against certain people that the crowd actually liked more than him, and they were the heels. So yeah, I get that. He was obviously WWE have coined John Cena the most polarizing figure in WWE history, basically, because he's one of the few people that actually gets both cheered and booed at the same time. Most of the time, he gets both cheered and booed. Yeah, because there's always those chants of like, let's go Cena, and then immediately Cena sucks at the same time. So yeah. But yeah, NXT started with Julia. She was out there. She won the women's Iron Survivor match at Deadline, which I did watch, and it was a very good show. The match of the night for me was the tag team match, actually, between Fraxium and No Quarter Catch Crew. That was a great match. Julia was out there. She talked about Deadline, talked about winning the Iron Survivor match, and then she started to talk about Roxanne Perez and how she's going to be facing Roxanne Perez at New Year's Evil, which will take place January something. I can't remember the exact date, but it'll be in Los Angeles. So, looking to be a big show. Then, lo and behold, who shows up? None other than Roxanne Perez. She starts talking her usual trash, and then she says that, Julia, you might not even make it to Los Angeles. Then out comes Cora Jade, who says, you definitely will not be making it to Los Angeles, and I know you're probably thinking that your good friend Stephanie Vaquer is going to come out and save you, but she can't. She won't, and she can't because, we took her out. So they definitely start beating up on her, Julia. Then out comes Kelani Jordan. So obviously there's more than one person who's tired of Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade's bullying tactics. And so that match, these four will then immediately after this, we go backstage where a bunch in the locker room where a bunch of superstars are just kind of conversing and just talking with each other. Tony D'Angelo comes into the picture and immediately makes a beeline for Ethan Page, who is sitting in a chair, just I guess sulking and looking just. He's looking like he just lost the lottery because he lost the men's Iron Survivor match, the match that he thought was his last chance to ever get a shot at the NXT title ever again. So he's obviously not in the best mood. Tony D says that he's willing to give Ethan Page a shot at the NXT North American title. Ethan Page says, with all due respect, Tony, I'm a former NXT champion, so in my mind, accepting a shot at the B-level title in NXT is like a step down for me, so a hard pass. But then as soon as it looks like Tony D is willing to offer to any of the other men in the room, Ethan Page is like, oh, no, I need this. Like, all of a sudden, as soon as it looks like someone else is going to get the title shot, oh, now he finally needs it. Now he finally wants it. And so Tony G grants him the match, and so it happens. So we get that match later on in the night. Then we get our first match of the night. Wesley versus Javon Evans. This match obviously took place because of stuff that happened at Deadline. Obviously, Nathan Frey, Wesley and Javon Evans were a part of the Men's Iron Survivor match. Wesley was not able to win, neither was Javon Evans. Afterwards, though, we got a backstage segment. We had gotten a backstage segment later on in the night with Javon Evans being interviewed, and then Wesley came into focus to interrupt the interview, and they started to get. Then eventually they started attacking, getting in each other's spaces, and started throwing punches. So that led to this match tonight, and this match went about 10 minutes 30 seconds. It was actually a very good match. It was actually better than the match they had at the ECW arena, because at the end of the match, Javon Evans decided to do a frog splash on Wesley, which looked a little sloppy. Not the best frog splash I've ever seen anyone do. But Javon Evans got the win tonight. I can't remember who actually won this match. Great, I forgot who won. There's one way that I can remedy that. One way I can figure out who won. Excuse me for a second. I'm just looking up something. I want to know who won Wesley in the Wesley versus Javon Evans match. And I should be able to figure out. But yeah. Yeah, just bear with me for a second, guys. I want to know who won this match because I forgot. Because I totally forgot who won this match. I'm waiting. I'll just drink what's left of my Powerade Zero fruit punch. Come on. Oh, come on. Okay. Should be able to find out in a second who won. I'm just trying to figure out who won. Okay, Javon Evans won. Javon Evans won the match. Good for him. I was just trying to figure out who won the match because I had forgotten. But yes, good for him. We get Kelani Jordan backstage. She's with Julia. They are, I guess, in the medical center, in the medical part of the Performance Center. They're looking on Julia and looking at Stephanie Vaquer. Obviously, Kelani Jordan said that Stephanie Vaquer is okay, and that she and Julia will be facing Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade in the main event for the main event. So that match was made official. Then we get a promo from Josh Briggs, who apparently has been over in Japan as of late and just recently came back to NXT. He was wrestling in, I guess, Pro Wrestling Noah. So he, like a couple of NXT superstars recently that I can think of, they've been wrestling in Japan. So good for him. Now he's back. I don't know what he's going to be doing, but I'm guessing he brought someone with him from Japan. I'm guessing a tag team partner. So I'm guessing they're going to be in the tag team division. Can't remember his tag team partner's new name, but I guess I'll probably remember it eventually. Moxley, get the hell out of here. 7 people. Not that it's gonna stay that way, but hey, 7 people. That's as much. I'm willing to accept that. I'm willing to take that. Then we get our second match. We got Hank Walker, Tank Ledger versus Tyreek Igwe and Tyson DuPont. Interesting names. Interesting names for the other team. This match went about 6 minutes, though. It was a legit tag team match, not necessarily a squash match. And it was okay. It wasn't the best tag team match I've ever seen, but it was okay. Hank Walker and Tank Ledger did get the win. After the match, I can't remember whether it was either Tyson or Tyreek who went for the handshake, who went to shake Hank and Tank's hand, but then the other guy was like, I'm having none of that. I'm guessing he was a little pissed off at the fact that he just lost a tag team match. But he probably, in his mind, thinks he should have won. But it is what it is. Decent match. Good for Hank and Tank. Then we get Axiom backstage. He blames Obafemi for Nathan Frazier not winning the Iron Survivor Challenge at Deadline. Obviously, Nathan Frazier was also in the match alongside Wesley, Javon Evans, Ethan Page, and the person who we found out was replacing Eddie Thorpe, who got attacked. Supposedly, Obafemi, who went on to win the match and also made history in the match as he became the first male superstar, NXT superstar, to pin 2 superstars at once in the Iron Survivor match. 2023 Women's Iron Survivor match had a moment, I think, in which Lash Legend pinned 2 people. So I think that's what happened. I can't remember. But hey, it is what it is. Good for Obafemi. I think he's definitely going to win the NXT title soon. Then we get Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson backstage. Soruka and Zarya were talking amongst themselves in the women's locker room. Then in comes Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson. They start talking a little smack. Then the 4 of them start throwing fists at each other. And apparently this match will now take place. This tag team match will now take place next week on NXT. Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson versus Soruka and Zarya. That should be a good tag team match. Then we get Tatum Paxley and Gigi Dolan, who recently returned on last week's episode, on an episode of NXT a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. She's now back. She teamed up with Tatum Paxley tonight to take on Fatal Influence's Jasmine Nix and JC Jane. This led to interference eventually from Tatum Pax, from Fallon Henley, the women's North American champion. This match only lasted 3 minutes and 30 seconds. It was a squash match with interference from Fallon Henley. Fatal Influence gets the win. They start attacking both Tatum and Gigi. Then somebody comes out. Now, before this match took place, we had a backstage little moment with Tatum and Gigi. They were getting ready for the match. Tatum said that she had that not to worry about Fatal Influence's numbers game because she had another friend who could potentially neutralize that. Apparently, her friend decided to come out now, and apparently her other friend, turned out to be none other than Shotzi, who has been out with an injury. I can't remember what it was, but she's been injured for a number of months, at least since last year. She underwent surgery. She's been healing and I'm guessing rehabbing, and now she seems to be back. She returned on NXT to aid Tatum Paxley and Gigi Dolan, which almost makes sort of sense because three of them are all sort of crazy characters. Tatum, Gigi, and Shotzi. So she's back. Can't wait to see what she does and whether or not she's better. Or then we get, obviously after this, we got Obafemi. He is out there. He is addressing the crowd following his win in the men's Iron Survivor match. Then out comes, obviously, the NXT champion, Trick Williams. Obafemi decides to sort of claim that the only reason why there was ever a whoop at Trick error is because I allowed it. The only reason why you won the Iron Survivor match last year is because I allowed it. The only reason why you ever became champion, and the only reason why you're champion right now is because I allow it. And I thought, ooh, this match should be good, and I think Obafemi is going to be winning the match. I think Obafemi is going to. I'm guessing he's going into Stand and Deliver as the NXT champion, and then Trick Williams might be one of those superstars to go through the transfer window, much like I think Roxanne Perez is going to lose to Julia at NXT New Year's Evil, and that means that Roxanne Perez might also be moving up to the main roster because she's been in NXT now since like late 2021, from like early 2022, and so she's been there more than 2 years. So I think she has done everything. Two-time NXT champion, women's champion, NXT women's tag team champion. She's done just about everything. She doesn't really need to do much of anything else. And Julia's obviously going to be the new leader in the women's locker room. What happens to Cora Jade, I don't know. Then we get Ethan Page versus Tony D'Angelo for the NXT North American title. This was 11 minutes. Not bad. It was a decent match. Tony D was obviously winning. I didn't think Ethan Page was winning this match for a second. And he did lose. So good for Ethan Page. Good for Tony D. But then we get Axiom and Nathan Frazier backstage again. We get the announcement that Axiom makes the announcement, tells Nathan that he has talked with Ava and about getting a match against Obafemi next week. But then Nathan Frazier makes the abrupt announcement that he talked with Ava next week as well, and they're going to be defending their tag team titles next week on the same night that Axiom is going to be wrestling Obafemi. So for the second time, one member of Fraxium is going to be wrestling twice in the same night. Obviously, Axiom's losing to Obafemi. There's no way he wins against that man. And then as far as whether or not they win their tag team match, which is apparently against Gallus. I don't know if they lose. I don't know if they lose the titles that night or not. I had a feeling they might lose at Deadline, but they didn't. So this might be their way of losing the titles this upcoming week. Then obviously we get the main event. Then after this, though, we got Ethan Page, who was I guess walking outside, to his car or whatever. He is not happy. He does not look happy. He does not look all ego. He's he doesn't even know what to do anymore because he lost what he thought was his last opportunity to ever challenge for the NXT title ever again which I'm guessing he still feels like he needs to be the champion. But it is what it is. I'm guessing Ethan Page might be one of those that's coming up to the main roster. Who knows? It could happen. I could see him being inserted into a mid-card title feud, potentially. Then we get the main event, obviously, Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez versus Kelani Jordan and Julia. This match went about 9 minutes and 30 seconds. This led, eventually, at one point, Julia and Roxanne Perez started just brawling outside the ring, and they started going into the back area. This left Cora and Kelani in the ring. They were the legal superstars anyways. Hey, Austin. And eventually Cora Jade pins Kelani Jordan to win the match for her team. Then, all of a sudden, Stephanie McCur comes out to attack Cora, obviously getting payback for what happened earlier on in the night. The show ends with Eddie Thorpe in Ava's office. He is signing the contract for the NXT title match. Also, Ethan Page came out during the Oba Femi Trick Williams segment, to accuse Oba Femi of attacking him and taking him out of the Iron Survivor match, which I actually almost thought was entirely possible. Then he got up in Trick Williams' face and just kept aggravating him until Trick decided to give him an NXT title shot next week. So the ending of this episode was Eddie Thorpe in Ava's office signing the contract for his NXT title match. Ava told Eddie that we're still looking into who attacked you, and Eddie decided to you don't need to do that, because I know who attacked. Because I know who attacked Eddie. Because I know who attacked me. Me. I attacked myself. I staged the whole thing. So apparently Eddie Thorpe staged his own attack on himself. He basically said, I did that so I wouldn't have to wrestle 25 minutes just to get an NXT title match that I'm now getting. And I thought, holy crap, this guy's a genius. He took himself out of the match. I mean, there was no way Eddie Thorpe was going to win the match anyways. So he decided, why wrestle for 25 minutes when I might not get a title, when I might not win the match anyways? Stage an attack on myself and then just berate the champion long enough and get in his face enough to where he just decides to give me the title match anyways. I'm not talking about myself, Dolores. I'm talking about Eddie Thorpe, who's apparently a genius for staging his own attack. Yes, you can do that, Austin. Anybody that wants to do that is free to do so, can do that. Also, if you guys want to hit that like button, feel free to do so. Never required, but I do appreciate it. So that was NXT. Good show this week. Not quite as good as Monday Night Raw, but it was still good. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Now on to AEW Dynamite. AEW Dynamite had their annual Winter is Coming special edition of AEW Dynamite this week. We saw a return, and we saw a bunch of matches and vignettes and backstage segments, so let's get into it. The opener was Jon Moxley and Pac of the Death Riders taking on the team of Jay White and Orange Cassidy. Now, I'm not going to lie, I didn't mind this match at all, but the fact that this match lasted just about 20 minutes, only to end in a DQ with Hangman Adam Page coming in to disrupt things, was kind of stupid. You could have easily done that and just given us maybe like a 10-minute tag team match. Just give us 10 minutes and then have maybe Hangman and Page running then. but to have this match go almost 20 minutes only for the match to end in a DQ, I felt that was kind of a stupid booking decision, and I didn't do that. I didn't necessarily like it. Not that I didn't like the match itself. The match was pretty good. It's just that the ending was stupid because they didn't need to do that. They could have easily done it by just making the match shorter, maybe giving more time to another match or two. After this, though, we got Christian Cage, who was apparently in a VIP section of the arena. He started talking about how he's holding this contract that he won at Wembley for an AEW World Championship match, and how at World's End, he might be the one at the very end of the match to come out and execute his contract. All of a sudden, Hook comes into view. He starts, and then he just starts coming, and then he immediately just knocks open the door and just starts attacking Christian Cage. Obviously, Christian Cage is able to eventually get out of harm's way, but it is what it is. Tony Schiavone even called it a beautiful thing. A beautiful thing. Nigel was like, what was so beautiful about that? Christian Cage got his ass whooped. Well, that's not beautiful. Christian Cage should never get his ass whooped, especially by someone like Hook. Classic. Yeah. Then we get a video package. We apparently get a video package, and it's for a returning superstar, Bandito. Don't know much about him at all, but apparently I've only seen him wrestle like maybe once or twice on AEW television since debuting, and he's been out with an injury, so apparently he's coming back. Mildly interested, so it is what it is. We also got backstage, Jon Moxley backstage after the opening match. He talked his usual shtick about needing to be the guy to lead AEW forward, and how guys like Orange Cassidy, Jay White, and Hangman Page don't deserve to be in the title picture, don't deserve to hold this title. And so he proposed a fatal four-way match at World's End for the title. Orange Cassidy versus Jay White versus Hangman Page versus Jon Moxley. Who wins that match? I would say Jon Moxley, and then, or maybe Orange Cassidy does win, but then Christian Cage comes out to just spoil Orange Cassidy's night and just has him win the title. Who knows? Who knows who's going to win that match? I don't know. It's a fatal four-way match. Then we get a match in the Continental Classic. We got Will Ospreay versus Claudio Castagnoli. This was a pretty decent match, went about 11 minutes. Will Ospreay, though, gets the win. He gets the win. Not surprising. I thought not surprising, but it is what it is. Good match. Well, congrats to Will Ospreay. He wins. Then we get an FTR promo, and apparently tonight they are going to be in a match, or at least they're going to be in the ring, and they're going to call out the Death Riders, Jon Moxley's group, and if they're man enough, they can come and fight. Yeah, try telling us that you're just gonna. You should just tell us right away that you're gonna have someone interfere on behalf of come out to help FTR, instead of making it look completely obvious. Then we get a little video package involving Chris Jericho of the Learning Tree. Get Chris Jericho off AEW television. Not needed. At least not as much. But yes, he is getting ready to face face Matt Cardona. He will be facing Matt Cardona at the next Ring of Honor pay-per-view. He will be facing off against Matt Cardona at the Hammerstein, as he's calling, I guess as Chris Jericho's calling it, the Hammerstein Ballroom in New York City for the Ring of Honor World Title. I don't know if Matt Cardona is going to win, but I would love to see him just win and just shut Chris Jericho up. Then we get another match for the Continental Classic, Ricochet versus Brody King. This match was interesting because for the first time, I think in a long time, or at least that as far as I've ever seen Ricochet, he's been a babyface, and I feel like he's never really been booed. Tonight he was booed in a match against Brody King because the crowd definitely seemed to be more into Brody King than they were into Ricochet. Because they were like barking like ooh, 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 which I guess is sort of a thing that Brody King does. Because he's a big, beefy guy, and that's obviously what most of them do sometimes. But yeah, Ricochet does win via questionable means. So good for Ricochet. Maybe this is leading potentially towards a heel turn. I don't know. But hey, it is what it is. We got Tony Schiavone interviewing Darby Allin about the Continental Classic and the car crash that ended Full Gear, where he ran into the van that was carried that the Death Riders had come in had rode to the arena in, which then led them to steal another vehicle to get out of harm's way. It is what it is. It wasn't anything. It was just an interview. I like Darby Allin, but I don't know what's going on. Then we got Kyle O'Reilly versus Adam Cole. These were the final two in the Dynamite Dozen Battle Royal last week. Give me a break. Nobody cared about this match. This match apparently was ice cold. The crowd was apparently ice cold for this match. Like, they couldn't even care. Adam Cole wins, 9 minutes, 30 seconds, basically. Basically what it is. It is what it is. Adam Cole wins. Congrats to him. He gets his match against Adam Cole, against MJF for the Dynamite Diamond ring at World's End, which I don't know why they're doing that. This could easily just be a grudge match with nothing on the line, just except for pride. But it is what it is. Main event, Mina Shirakawa versus Mariah May. This was for the AEW Women's Championship. Obviously, Mariah May won the match, though it was the ending of the show, but then it was after the match that got the fans' attention, when apparently Toni Storm decided to make her return for the first time since losing the title to Mariah May at Wembley, all in Wembley. But Toni Storm is no longer timeless. She's no longer timeless, darling. She is no longer timeless. She is now back to her original persona that she debuted with in WWE and in AEW. When she debuted in AEW, she was basically her rocker gimmick with her original AEW theme. So who knows what this will lead to? I'm excited for Toni Storm to come back. I feel like she's one of the more legit women in AEW's roster. But apparently AEW talent and AEW personal backstage were a bit shocked that Toni Storm's return match was apparently on a pre-taped AEW Rampage this week, facing off against Harley Cameron in a match that she obviously won, but people were like just shocked and appalled that AEW would actually book Toni Storm's return match on a show that almost nobody cares about. At least have a return on Collision, because at least some people watch Collision. Almost nobody watches Rampage. Apparently, last week's episode got just 177,000 views. Great. And AEW is doing just fine. AEW is doing just fine. Apparently, that's not the case. Good episode of AEW Dynamite. Nothing special. Nothing great. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. It was decent in some places. Other spots were like, get it off my TV. Friday Night SmackDown. Friday Night SmackDown started out with Jimmy Uso. He was out there. He showed up for the first time since War Games, where he apparently broke his toe. He was on crutches, obviously, for that. Because of that, he was on crutches. Coming out here tonight, he was on crutches. Talked about winning War Games, talked about the family getting back to where they need to be. And apparently, someone decided to interrupt proceedings, that being Drew McIntyre. Did not expect Drew McIntyre to come out and attack Jimmy Uso with a Claymore kick, but then it also makes sense because he is on this now, basically this massacre camp, this campaign of where he's just attacking every single person that he feels has wronged him in the past. And obviously that includes the Bloodline, CM Punk, and I'm guessing a lot of other superstars who he feels like has been a thorn in his side for a while. And so it made sense. Good. It was a good segment, though, because Drew McIntyre coming out was something that I didn't expect. I'm sure the fans didn't expect it. Then we get Tiffany Stratton backstage with Nia Jax. Tiffany Stratton was wearing a very Christmas-themed outfit, which I thought was very appropriate, considering it's close to being time for Christmas. 2 weeks away, basically just 2 weeks, a little less than 2 weeks away. Today's the 14th, so 11 days until Christmas. Like, oh my God, 11 days until Christmas. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Where has this year gone? Where has this year gone? We got Tiffany Stratton backstage. Nia Jax tells her that once she becomes the new Women's United States Champion, that she won't need the Money in the Bank briefcase anymore, because she'll be a champion and she won't need to cash in her briefcase. That was a little shocking to me that Nia Jax would say those words, exact words, and in that way. I think it's almost a given at this point that she's cashing in on Nia. There's just no way around it, because that's exactly what they're doing. Their end game is. We should have already gotten that end game by now, but it is what it is. WWE's just gonna drag this thing out for as long as they possibly can. After this, though, we also got a backstage segment. Bianca Belair, Nick Aldis was berating Drew McIntyre for his surprise attack on Jimmy Uso. Then Bianca comes in and asks Nick Aldis if it's a bad time. Just like, no, it's not a bad time. I'm just talking to Drew McIntyre. Then Nick Aldis informs Bianca that he might have to strip Bianca of her tag team titles, but Naomi is there with Bianca. Naomi tells Nick Aldis, hey, if she needs a tag team partner, I can step up. Nick Aldis allows it, and I'm guessing this is going to lead to the eventual. I guess this is all but confirmed. And I thought that it was Bianca Belair who attacked Jade Cargill. I felt like it was just a given that they were going to reveal it to be Bianca who attacked Jade. But what if they're setting up Naomi to be the fall guy? It would make sense. It would sort of make sense. She's been a little frustrated as of late. Not just because she hasn't been able to win the women's championship, but because she's just been losing a lot. But hey, it is what it is. Semi-final match for the women's U.S. title tournament. The finals will take place tonight on Saturday night's main event. This semifinals match was Michin versus Tiffany Stratton. I actually saw Michin winning. I know some people were like upset that Michin won only because she hasn't really been pushed as of late and she hasn't really been made to look like anything special. Other than the minor pushes she's been given that she's been sprinkled with over the past couple of months. But good, congrats to Michin. She won about 7 minutes. The match went, and it was good. Santos Escobar. Then we get Santos Escobar backstage with Nick Aldis. He talks about how he could probably potentially be receiving better treatment over on Monday Night Raw. I'm guessing making a reference to the transfer window that's taking place right now. Then Carmelo Hayes comes out. Then Carmelo Hayes comes up to Nick Aldis, and he's asking about his mystery opponent that he's facing tonight. So we go to commercial break, and then we come back, and we get Carmelo Hayes in the ring. He's facing a mystery opponent, and apparently the mystery opponent turns out to be former Universal Champion Braun Strowman. Some people were a little disappointed because they were thinking that it was going to be Penta who was coming in. But then again, I'm also thinking to myself, why would WWE give away that for free? You're going to probably give that. He's probably debuting at the Royal Rumble. That's just how I would book Penta's WWE debut. If he's going to debut without his brother, which I honestly don't think he should do, because I feel like in other interviews he just said that when you get one of us, you're getting both of us, not just one or the other. But I guess Penta will debut on his own. And then when his brother's able to come into WWE, that's what they'll do. But hey, it is what it is. Braun Strowman got the win in just about 4 minutes, a squash match. But it was good to see Braun Strowman back on SmackDown, which he could very well be the first superstar to actually use the transfer window to get onto another brand. We got a DIY promo. They talked about how when they won the tag team titles the first time, and then they got screwed by the Bloodline, and then they got screwed out of a traditional one-on-one rematch for the titles, and how they were willing to do whatever it took to get those titles back. And obviously last week they turned heel. Well, at least John Gargano turned heel, because we were already basically saying to ourselves, Tommaso Ciampa's obviously heel again, but Johnny Gargano decided to join him. And so they're now the tag team champions, and it's great. I like to see DIY as the tag team champions. Obviously they're heels now, which is the first I think they've been heel at the same time, because we've gotten them as heels before, but never at the same time. So I'm excited for this. We also got a Roman Reigns promo. He called out Solo Sikoa for the Raw Netflix debut in a tribal combat match. Now, hopefully, this tribal combat match will not go the same way that the one at Survivor Series at SummerSlam 2023 went, when it was told to us that basically anything goes, but there is to be no interference from anybody. But they immediately ignored that rule when they had Solo interfere in the match, and then had Jimmy Uso cost Jay the match later on in the match. So hopefully that doesn't happen this time around. But it was a great promo. Then after commercial break, we got Byron Saxton interviewing LA Knight before his match with Solo Sikoa. LA Knight is not happy about losing his United States Championship and isn't even and also isn't happy about what happened last week with Solo Sikoa, so hence this match. Match went about 13 minutes, and it was a very good match, but Solo Sikoa obviously won via the bloodline interference, as we all knew was going to happen. Then afterwards we get the bloodline attacking LA Knight. Then all of a sudden out comes Andrade and Apollo Crews, both of whom were taken out by the bloodline last week. So I guess it makes sense. Who knows? But yeah, it is what it is. After this, we got Motor Machine Guns promo. They, I guess, had a rebuttal for what DIY had to say earlier on in the night. It was a great promo. Excited to see where this leads, maybe. Then we also get Bayley versus Chelsea Green, the other semifinals match for the women's U.S. title tournament. Chelsea Green won the match, which I thought was almost a given when I saw that Michin won the previous match. So about 9 minutes. Good for Chelsea. I think she is the one that's going to win the title at Saturday night's main event tonight. Also, we got Candice LeRae and Nia Jax backstage. She was informing Nia that she wanted to inform Nia that she and Candice will have a match for the women's tag team titles next week. Obviously, Nicole just told Bianca that she better be ready to defend her titles as early as next week. Now we know who her Naomi's opponents will be. Tiffany was there. Obviously, I'm guessing they're teasing tension between Tiffany and Nia, obviously. And it's obviously going to lead to Nia Jax losing, Tiffany Stratton cashing in on Nia. Then obviously we get the main event, Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes. Not much needed to be said here. Kevin Owens laid a trap for Cody Rhodes and stood tall at the end of the show, which I'm guessing means that he's losing tonight. But I actually do believe Kevin Owens should win, and it won't hurt Cody Rhodes at all. But that's just my opinion. You guys can think what you want. But that was Friday Night SmackDown. Very good show. I give it 7.5 out of 10. So it is what it is. But that's it, guys. An hour and 22 minutes. Didn't think I was going to go that long, but obviously I talked about some things in detail a little bit. So it is what it is. This might be my longest live stream ever that I've done on this channel. But hey, thank you guys for showing up. The 5 likes, I appreciate it. Oh, shut up. But hey guys, I appreciate the 5 likes. So I appreciate it, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the week, rest of your Saturday, and a great rest of the weekend. And until next time, I will see you guys later. Peace. Bye, guys. What is